Are you username ladiesman217? Are you username... Oh, that's the wrong version of me, so... Get out of here. Move along. Go! How's it going, everyone? deceptibot9 here, and thank you, as always, for joining me here on the channel. If you're a new viewer, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. It's good to see you. Before we get too far into the review, I'd like to ask, if you like what you see, go ahead and leave me a like. Plus, if you're not already subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button as well. It does really truly mean a lot to me. Plus, if you want to find me anywhere else on the internet, you can go ahead and find all of my social links down below. Now, if you couldn't tell by our little skit intro, we're going to be talking about Studio Series War for Cybertron Gamer Edition Barricade. A very controversial, I don't know if controversial is the right word, a highly contentious figure in the community right now. And as I talked about in my review of Optimus Prime, I love the War for Cybertron games. They are absolutely fantastic. The designs are amazing, and I love that we're seeing them translated here to toys. So let's go ahead and head down to the review station to see how Barricade stands up to the test. Alright, and here is a closer look at Studio Series Gamer Barricade in all of his glory, question mark, and of course, see all of his accessories that he comes with. He does just come with the one gun, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Yeah, I mean, you can see overall, he's here, he exists. I don't think he's a bad figure like some people online are saying. I think he's fine. There are definitely some issues. There are some major issues going on with this figure, unfortunately, and I would have loved if they had just given it a second go during the design phases to clear some of that up, and we'll of course talk about that when we get there. But for the most part, I think he's a fine figure. I do really like finally having a game designed Barricade in my collection, because this is a great design overall. I mean, he's not bad, okay? I'm just gonna say that. He's not bad. There's definitely some room for improvement, but at the end of the day, he's not bad. We'll talk about that all at the end. So with all that said, let's go ahead and just take a closer look at the detail on this guy. All right, so we'll come up here to the head sculpt, which is fantastic. I do really, really like the head sculpt. I think it emulates the game very, very well. He's got the little, like, tears. I've always thought they were, like, tears running down his eyes for some reason going on. The yellow paint in there is nice. Head sculpt overall is just really, really good as well. You can see here coming out the back are the, like, little shoulder or back pieces that he had in the game. Don't really know how to describe those, but he's got a nice purple there. Coming down here to the chest, he's got some silver paint, some purple paint. Mine's got a couple little smudge marks there, not a big deal. Some more silver paint and some detail there. Arms you can see as well. Nice detail, molded detail here on the shoulder pads and the arms. Here's the hands. You can see the wheels here. We'll talk about them a little bit more in vehicle mode, obviously, but they are missing the sort of purple texture or the purple light up decal that was on there in the game, so they look a little plain and boring, unfortunately, but I'm sure some skilled customizers will be able to hit that with the type of paint needed for that. Coming down, here's his hands. They look nice as well. I do enjoy the way the hands look, of course. And moving down here to the legs, there's just, some panel detail going on here. Again, here's another wheel where it should have had some purple going down there. Here are the shins with the way they look. Kind of that sort of matte gray color that they're going for here, but this one is painted rather than molded like some of these other pieces. And his big old feet, which don't really have much going on for them. They do have a little bit of detail on them. Moving here to the back, you get to see a little bit more of the car parts. Here's, the hood, the front headlight pieces. It's some kibble, unfortunately. It is there, but that's just how it had to end up, I guess. And the back piece, which isn't terrible, but I really wish they had found some way for these to sort of fold up or collapse just so they weren't sticking out as much. And here's the back part, which I do love that they included this section, which is accurate to the game, although I wish it just had a little bit of a splash of color. So yeah, I mean, that's the detail on Barricade. Generally, as an overall look, an overall aesthetic, I think he's fine. He is probably a little bit too bulky compared to the game model, which I'll show right here. Oops. So you can see, I mean, compared to the game model, they sort of got the idea right, obviously. Like, he's got the sort of bigger forearms, but these are like too big compared to what they are in the game design. Hands, I feel like, are too small. They're not big enough. This whole back piece ends up just being a little flat rather than like, you know, spiked segments, kind of like how they are in the design. The wheels are here as well, like in the design, but they are a little bit bulky, obviously, because they have the sort of wheel housing rather than just being the wheel. And the legs are fairly accurate. Even the big old feet are fairly accurate as well. But yeah, I just think overall he is slightly too bulky, which we will talk about now as well as we get to articulation on this guy. And this is where he really suffers. I can sort of get behind the bulky. You can already see one of the major problems here. The sort of extra bulk assigned to him. I can get behind that. I can get past that at least. I think he looks good. Like, honestly, I think he's a fine looking figure for the most part. If they had to make him a little bit bulkier to make him work, totally fine with me. I just wish they would have done some things differently. But here's where the figure ultimately suffers. And you guys know I don't really like to be negative at all. I hate being negative when it comes to figures because I love these figures. I really do. And it just sucks that sometimes they don't make them up to par for, you know, some of our expectations. And so, you know, as a guy who is usually overly positive, I would say, if I'm being negative about something, that usually means that it's got a little hint of truth and objectivity to it, I guess I would say. But articulation wise, his head is on sort of a ball joint system, so you can get it to rock up and down a little bit. You can get it to swivel all the way around if you would like. It can also, of course, kind of tilt side to side, but not all that much. Arms do go all the way around. They are on a ball joint here at the shoulder. They go out only about that far before they start getting blocked. Elbows, this is a bad one. They don't even really, I mean, that's barely a 45 maybe. They're just so bulky they can't really bend all that much forward, which is really unfortunate. Arms do have a swivel though, although there you go. Sometimes they might get blocked by the extra panels in here, but they do swivel. Hands here as well. They do swivel because they are on a ball joint. But you'll notice there is a panel here that will be for the vehicle mode, so you cannot really get the hand 100% straight in the arm, which is, you know, unfortunate, really unfortunate that they can't get that hand all the way straight. He does also have a waist swivel, but which can go all the way around if you get some of that kibble out of the way, but a lot of that kibble sort of prevents it from swiveling kind of as far as it should, unfortunately. The legs here go forward. They go forward a great amount and backward a pretty good amount as well. Again, the kibble starts blocking it. They're on a ball joint, but they only go out that far. That is as far as his split goes. That's pretty darn disappointing. That is really, really bad for a split. It's because this ball joint housing up here is not cut enough to allow it to move forward or anything, which just really, really sucks, man. The swivel here at the thigh gets it going around, you know, enough. Doesn't go all the way around because it's blocked by kibble. Here's another bad one. The knee only goes that far at most. That's at most the joint will allow. Certain poses you'll kind of the wheel housing is supposed to move with it, but sometimes you'll find it kind of blocks it a little bit, but the knee just doesn't bend that much, man. It's really, really disappointing. And here's the biggest one: the feet have absolutely nothing. All they have is this, because that is for transformation purposes, and there is no heel spur on it. So unfortunately, if you hinge the feet all the way down like you're supposed to, oh, really? There you go. So I was going to say, the one time I show that he can't stand with his feet like that, he's going to stand just fine. God damn you, Barricade. No, you'll see he's just rocks back. There is no support there on the backside if you fold those all the way down. Now, the way to get him to stand, obviously, is just to kind of tilt them forward ever so slightly so that his balance or his weight distribution is kind of even. It causes him to lean forward ever so slightly, but that's how you're going to get him to stand straight up if you want him to stand straight up. So again, they really, really missed the ball on articulation with this guy. Like, I love the way I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I think he looks great. Honestly, there's a few things I would change, but looks, I dig it. I love. He just can't pose for shit, and he can't really move all that much, and it really, really sucks, man. Really, really sucks. But anyway, let's get to some things that we do like about this figure, which of course is the accessories. So, like the other gamer figures, well, I only have Prime so far, but we've seen it with Bumblebee and Megatron and Cliffjumper, is he does come with a gun accessory, which is ripped straight from the game. I cannot for the life of me remember which gun this is. I think this is just a regular machine gun, but the cool thing about it is, of course, he's got the 5mm port there, because if you rip off the arm from the 5mm port, you can just pop the gun on there, and he has the gun transformed out of his arm like he does in the game, which I do really, really love, and I love that they are incorporating that on each of these figures, and of course you can swivel it around, but again, here's where posability is, well, geez, I always throw it off when I'm trying to pose it like that. You can't really put him in a very many shooty poses because just everything is so limited with how he goes, but you know, I guess it is what it is. I do like that they include the option to do that. And of course, if you have other gamer figures, like Optimus Prime here, you can rip the gun off of Prime. You can put barricades on Prime, which looks a little small and a little silly, but it is still fun to do that. And of course, you can kind of put primes on Barricade. You can put it on there, and it actually looks kind of neat when you actually get it on there, but you can't really move it around much from there just because of the bulk of everything. It kind of just fits in there rather nicely like that, but it's stuck at that position. You can't really do much with it, but it is cool, again, that you are able to swap these things around like that, and I can't wait to get Bumblebee because he comes with two. He comes with a plasma gun and a sniper rifle, and so I'm really excited to get my hands on those to add to the gamer lineup. If you want to store the gun on him, you certainly can. There is just a little tab here on the back, and there's a little, or tab hole, and there's a tab here on the gun. You can just pop it in the back, and it'll sit back there and be completely hidden if you show him from the front because the backpack is so goddamn big. Anyway, all right, let's take a look at a couple comparisons with the Barricade so we can see how he doesn't stand. All right, we saw a quick tease just a second ago, but here is Gamer Barricade with Gamer Optimus Prime. And you can kind of see, I feel like this is too big for Barricade to be. I feel like he should be ever so slightly smaller, but I guess we'll see maybe when Megatron and Bumblebee come out, sort of scale it that way, but he feels a little too big, which I know is odd to say in this time where all the figures seem like they're getting smaller than they used to be. He seems a little too large, or maybe the other ones are too small. I don't know. Since I don't have Gamer B yet, here is a Cybertronian stand-in. This is Bumblebee from the Bumblebee movie. And one last one here is 2010 Generations War for Cybertron Megatron with Barricade. I really can't wait to get the Studio Series version of this guy because he looks absolutely tremendous. All right, let's go ahead and get Barricade transformed up into his vehicle mode. Transformation here on Barricade is actually really simple, but at the same time it's really fun. I do like the way the wheel hinges spin around there to come from the hips to the front of the car. I think that's really neat. And then from here it's just basically a straightforward car body. You're going to fold up the windshield piece, the arms are going to fold out to flip the hands in and then spin around and clip down, and then the back piece is going to come together and just fully assemble all at the end. So it's nothing really new or surprising with this Barricade, but at the same time I do have a lot of fun flipping back and forth between the modes. And here we are with vehicle mode, which is definitely his shining mode. I think he looks great. I definitely feel like they started here and then worked backwards into robot mode rather than starting a robot mode and working into vehicle mode, or however they usually work. I don't know, but feels like they started here because this mode is really solid. Of course, it needs a few little more paint apps to make it sort of look a little bit more like the video game, but overall, I think vehicle mode here is very, very well done. So let's take a closer look at it. Righto, so here at the front here is the sort of kind of cage, I guess. I don't really know what to call it, a crossbar or whatever that is, little scoop shovel thing that he has in the game, which I do really like. It's the back of the feet, so I don't know why they couldn't have turned that into more of a heel spur, but anyway, suffice to say, right here on the front, looks great. Coming up here, we got the nice purple headlights on both sides here, the nice black with the beautiful Decepticon symbol there, and I love the way the windshield looks, the sort of purple lines running through it, which is how he looks in the game, kind of all over. So I do wish there was a little bit more of that purple sort of running through like the side and stuff here. But right here, it looks great at the top windshield piece overall. And again, here's where the wheels could have used a little bit more of that purple paint like we see on the game model. Here is the bottom, a little bit of robot kibble, obviously, but not really too bad, honestly, for me. And the top here, so a little bit of line detail there. Wish we had some of that purple, but here we get some yellow and some purple paint here, some purple paint up here at the top with a big old square peg, which is where you can put the weapon for weapon storage. Very nice. It's kind of reminiscent of the games, how they kind of transformed out of the top of the vehicle, so that is nice. And then here's the back again, the engine section, which again, I just wish had a little bit more paint going onto it, but overall, not bad. I do really like the vehicle mode. It is very accurate and reminiscent of how he looks in the game, which I do love. And of course, he can roll, he rollies, he rolls very well, very smooth. So I do really like the vehicle mode here. Very pleased with it. I might actually feel like I might keep him in vehicle mode sometimes. But again, he is quite large, especially for a modern deluxe. He is pretty big. So let's show off some size comparisons here really quick. Here he is with Gamer Prime, who I thought was huge in vehicle mode, and he is, but honestly, you can see they're not really far off. The top of Optimus is getting cut off there, but yeah, I mean, they're not really that much different in terms of size if you line them up front. You can kind of see that there. He's only a little bit shorter than Prime, which is kind of crazy. And if you line them up sort of like this, you can see they're the same width. So again, I do feel like Barricade is maybe slightly too big in comparison to how he is with other characters in the game, but he's nice in vehicle mode. Here he is with B127, who I always thought was kind of a nice live-action sort of rendition of the High Moon design. I always kind of felt this was very reminiscent of that design. So kind of put these two together, see how they look. Obviously, again, Barricade is huge compared to this Bumblebee, and I can't wait for Gamer Bumblebee. Last one, who's way too small, it's Megatron from 2010. Yeah, definitely way too small. Definitely need the Studio Series version of this guy as soon as he comes out. All right, and that's going to do it for my closer look at Studio Series Gamer Edition Barricade. So let's go ahead and go on back up to me for my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on Studio Series Gamer Edition Barricade here is, I think overall he's just kind of a mixed bag. And like I said in the beginning, he's not a bad figure like some people have been saying, but he's certainly not great. I do enjoy him. I do like him. I think he looks all right for the most part in robot mode. Posing him is so bad. It's so clunky, and I really wish they had tried to give him some more articulation and some better articulation. Transformation's fun, and vehicle mode is pretty solid overall, and I am really happy that we do finally have a toy version of this version of Barricade, and I like the Gamer Edition line so far because Prime was excellent. Barricade, okay. Anxiously awaiting Bumblebee to see how if he's gonna kind of turn the tide. Barricade here feels kind of very much like, I guess Wave 1 so far, at least the two that I have, feels very much like the first wave of Studio Series way back in 2018, where they were all sort of iffy with a banger or two in there, right? Because Grimlock and Blackout were both really excellent figures, and the rest of the first wave of Studio Series is kind of so that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, at least until I get Bumblebee in hand, and then Megatron and Cliffjumper. We'll kind of see how it evolves, but I really wish they had gave him some more thought in terms of articulation and overall kind of clunkiness in robot mode. So really, it's up to you if you're going to want to grab this guy and add him to your collection or not. So guys, that is going to do it for my closer look and full review of Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition Barricade. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this figure down below. I know there is a lot of divisiveness going on the internet about this guy. And guys, that is going to take us all the way to the end of the video. So as always, if you made it to the very end, thank you so much. I do really truly appreciate it. Everybody who makes it here to the end of the videos. And as always, I have been your host, deceptibot9. Thank you as always for joining me on another episode of deceptibot9 Reviews, and I'll catch you guys later.